Hello, Libra. I accidentally hit the record button a little too fast. I haven't really had a chance to clean up from the last reading, but that's okay. I can shuffle while I am explaining what we're doing here on camera. So I had already recorded your reading because you were the #2 watched video from my Starseed series in November. But when I went to edit, there was no audio. And so I had to delete those videos. It was yours and 2 other signs. And here I am having to start over. And starting over, I really feel called to add a couple of decks to the reading, which I'm going to do here in just a second if I can get them shuffled. So that means, well, I had only completed a few, like half of the zodiac when I went to edit and found part of what I had completed was not working. So I think there's just a couple of signs that are going to have only 1 deck, but the rest will have 3. So if you watched one of the other signs, I apologize. This was not meant to happen. But I always follow my instincts. If I feel like it's important for me to use a particular deck, that's what I do. Let me make sure these are all going in the right direction. Okay, so give me a second to get these shuffled. We'll go ahead and get right into the reading. I've got a new deck, well, new to me here, that we're going to get to know together. This is the Star Trek Tarot, obviously. But as I said, I'm going to add these other decks in with it as well. Give this one more shuffle. This one is so hard to shuffle like this. It's so small. Alright, let's get a couple of these. Alright, we've got the bat on the bottom, but it was upside down. I don't know if I'm going to really read that yet, so I'm going to put it off to the side here. I kind of want to just stick to what follows from the deck. We'll see. Anything else? Oh, interesting. Now we have like the equivalent to the 9 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So this has to do with like independence, but it's also very successful energy, right? There's a lot of gold there, or a lot of, I should say, latinum, because this is the Star Trek deck. Meaning there's a lot of wealth on the table. You're very secure already. Interesting. Page of Starships and the Empress. This could be a mother-child combination. Okay, hold on. Mother-child combination, but then, so one thing I want to explain, just because it's coming right off the bat, with this particular deck, this would be the suit, they're called the batliths, but this would be the suit that represents swords energy, right? So these are weapons. Now, just because of the way that I am reading this, you know, I can't see all of these swords on this particular card, but you can see all of the weapons here. So I feel like the energy on this card, you've got 4, 5 swords, because there's 2 halves. Call me crazy, it's just how I read this. I'm going to read it every time I see it that way, even if it bothers people, okay? So if you're a tarot reader and you're like, girl, that is not the 5 of Swords, I don't care. It's how I'm reading it. Shut up and go read your own deck. Anyway, so I feel like there's some sort of argument or disagreement, right? But it could have to do with some sort of like what if there's What if there's like a, either a family business or something like that? Let's see. Somebody feels defeated. But the Two of Swords is actually really good energy because it talks about balance, right? And the fact that it's swords energy, this is communication. So maybe talking it out is really good. Oh yeah, because you've got the Magician underneath that. Oh, and the Star. Okay, very, very positive. And then the Ten of Cups. Okay, you got to talk it out. Look, the Five of Pentacles, somebody feels rejected or left out. So you definitely have to talk it out with whoever this person is here. Probably a child because of this. Could be water energy because this is Page of Starships, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but it doesn't have to be. That could just be mean that it's somebody who's a little bit emotional, right? Or they're in their feelings at least about this energy, right? Or they have emotion for you just as much as you have emotion for them, because it's the Empress with the Page of Cups together, right? This would be like mother and child energy because of the combination of the two cards. Yeah, take that however it resonates. And again, this is on the bottom of the deck, so this is the energy of everything from the past that's led you up into this moment where you're watching this reading, okay? So the two that fell upright would be the Fool and Justice. Very interesting energy. Especially because it's all about a new start, balance, fairness, right? And we just saw that over here where it's talking about a conversation that needs to be had because somebody felt as if, you know, like because there was some sort of argument or disagreement about unfairness, right? Somebody felt rejected or left out in some way. So that's just kind of confirming that this is the energy that there's like a new start because of some sort of balance or justice that comes in. Whether that's justice that you provide or that someone else provides, I don't know yet. Let's see what these have to say. All right, so we have 5 of them here. I'm going to read that with this one here in the center as our central energy. And these 2 will be the recent past, and then we've got the immediate future. Okay, very, very interesting coming into this immediate future, which I'm going to get to in just a second. And I say that because of the way that I'm reading these Batleth cards. It's given it an extra special flair that I love. So in the immediate past, or what just happened most recently, we have the Ace of Batleths and Strength. So again, this was the conversation here. It probably was very recent, this conversation that you had. And it was, you know, where I think with the Strength card, you very calmly, patiently, like, set boundaries or something, or explained your position, or you just very calmly, however it was that you went about it, it was very healing to the other person. I think whatever it was that you said, because of the Strength card. Also, this is like Leo energy as well, where it's like, it could have been where even though you had to set them in their place, you did it in such a way that they didn't feel too bad about it. Now, the 7 of Cups or the 7 of Starships is all about options, right? Options or choices, but it can also be about confusion. So I think even though this conversation was had, there's still some element of either choices or confusion. Because here's your immediate future. You've got the Temperance card, right? And I should say confusion over choices. Like, what do I choose? What do I do? Where do I go next? Where do we go from here? Well, there's all these different options to choose from of ways that we can handle this situation now that we've discussed it and put everything on the table. How are we going to move forward, or where are we going to go from here? And I just realized we didn't even get to our Oracle cards here, which I think that's probably going to end up giving us a little bit of a clarification at the end. I meant to look at that first. But anyway, so there's like, where are we going to go from here? Confusion. And then we have this Temperance, and then what is essentially the Five of Swords, but I'm going to read it as the Four and a Half of Swords. So the Four of Swords would really be the same card as Temperance, just in the minor arcana form. And I say that because the Four of Swords is about healing, right? You need to take a rest. You need to take a break from something. You need to heal from something, right? You need to heal your soul or meditate even, which is what the Four of Swords can be about, as well as Temperance, because you're trying to balance things, right? So meditation is another good, counterpart, like if you're looking at how these two balance each other's out. And also the Four of Swords can also, it can also kind of mirror a couple other major arcana, like the Hanged Man, because the Four of Swords is like the card of rest or a pause, because you're going on, kind of going on a mental vacation, right, with the swords. But anyway, with the Four of Swords, I mean, just explaining the Four of Swords energy and how similar it is to the Temperance, because the Temperance is about balancing two things together, right? Or balancing two opposites together, right? Because if you ever cook anything, like let's say you're gonna cook something that requires you to heat up a liquid that you have to then pour into something that, like eggs, right? And you don't want the eggs to start to scramble. You have to temper them. That meaning you put in just a tiny bit of one into the other, and you keep doing it back and forth, until you're able to mix the two together without scrambling the eggs. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to balance two things together. And I think it's taken you from this sort of healing energy of the Four of Swords, and it's moving into, I don't think you're quite at the Five of Swords energy yet. And I think even when this does come, I think even when it does come, I don't think it's going to quite hit the Five of Swords energy, to be honest with you, because it's coming from Temperance into this, and it doesn't have 5 full swords. It's only 4 and a half, which means even if one person is trying to win at all costs, they're not willing to go all the way. Right? They're not willing to be that bad, or they're not willing to be that cutthroat. But I don't think that energy is coming into play at this at all. I think this is more the energy of trying to get two sides to get along, and it kind of turns into chaos. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. I apologize for that. Someone was calling me. Yeah, so as I was saying, I think this is going to lead to some sort of chaos, right? Some sort of argument, or it's leading towards an argument at least. So we have the Wizard, we have the Magician, the Hanging Man, the Cat, Can of Poison, and the Moon Priestess. All right, I'm going to read from this little book here what it means in the upright or reverse of these cards. We'll just read. I'm going to read them as one sentence, going complete all the way across. If there's a pause, forgive me. It's because I'm trying to find the next card in the book. Be aware of what others are saying to you. They may be offering most of the pieces, and it can look tempting, but be sure to note what their other hand is doing. Don't let your chill keep you from addressing a situation. Just because you're okay now doesn't mean it can't cause problems down the road if we don't seek out our form of normalcy. What is known to be companionable can also be rather prickly at times. Be sure to note how the situation is affecting those around you. It may look a bit scary, but perhaps it is simply the surprise of the situation. Consider that an aggressive reaction may wane after the initial shock, but be prepared for a negative reaction. Drastic measures may need to be taken for uprooting bad weeds or pests around our hearts. However, be sure that it only spreads where intended. And they're talking about the poison. If you plan on using poison to get rid of any pests, they're saying be sure that you only spread it where you want to spread it. And then we have, you are capable of many things, including the digestion of others' sadness. Be sure that your comforting spirit energizes you and doesn't wear you down. Don't be afraid to show your sadness. Others may tune in to your hurt and provide the comfort needed to make it through to the other side. Radiant. Okay. Interesting. So it sounds like one person in this situation is kind of prickly. At least one person in the situation is prickly. Probably known to, maybe react first and then think about it later and go, oh man, maybe I reacted too strongly or something. That's what I got from the cat. We do have, well, interesting. Okay. So this energy, like it feels like it's Gemini energy here. I actually kind of keep almost wanting to call it the Magician, but it's the Hanging Man. And it's obvious that this character is hanging in the card, right? It's not like I can mistake the imagery. But I keep wanting to call it the Magician. And it should be the Wizard that gives me that vibe, but it's not. It's this card here. Let me read that one again, what it says, just so that I can refresh my memory, because the way that it's hitting me. It says, don't let your chill keep you from addressing a situation. Just because you're okay now doesn't mean it can't cause problems down the road if we don't seek our form of normalcy. So that might be why I'm seeing it as the Magician, because the Magician says that you are the master of your own universe, right? It's like you have all of the tools that you need at your disposal to create or manifest or accomplish anything that you set your mind to. You don't need anyone else's permission. You don't have to wait for anyone else's input or help or anything like that, because the Magician has it all. So coupled with that card, I would definitely say that's the reason that they're, that I'm feeling that the Magician is coming through, right? Like, take it however it resonates. Or you could be dealing with a Gemini. You don't have to be, but the Wizard, typically the imagery of the Wizard would be the imagery that's on the Magician card too, but this one is talking about someone who is trying to, well, in the card you can see how they're trying to deceive you. And you can see everything that's up the sleeve here, because they're showing the sleeve transparent, right? There's everything that's up his sleeve. Somebody might have ulterior motives in this situation. And again, it could be that you're dealing with a Gemini, but it doesn't have to be. It's just because, again, we've got this imagery here with the Wizard. I'm feeling the energy of the Magician when we talk about this card, but then, put it all together. It's just coming through that way. So you don't have to be. Let's go ahead. I want to get some of these. Also, I have to be honest, we have like so there's feminine energy coming through here, and I kind of felt that anyway. Right here, she's feminine, right? So, but this moon priestess, right, is water, because it's the moon, that would be water energy. So now we have Gemini as well as water energy coming through. I think at least one of these people that you're dealing with, possibly the Gemini or the water energy, but I would say like, unless the person has both in their chart, right? I would say that is feminine energy right here. Feminine energy coming through. And this is Libra's reading, so I think the other person that you're dealing with is a feminine Gemini or a feminine, I don't know why I left that there, a feminine Gemini or a feminine water sign. But Gemini has come through strongly a couple of times. I just have to keep saying it because it feels that way to me. Okay. Oh, I accidentally did that the wrong way. Give me a second. Interesting that it's all yellow too. I'm noticing like a lot of yellow. And I did just cut it a second time, and I don't know what the other one on this side was before, but it was yellow before, I know. So it could be about like willpower, somebody's, or maybe not willpower, like somebody's trying to, oh, interesting. Okay, so one person wants to do something one way and the other person wants to do something the other way. That's probably what the argument is about or was about. And either you're trying to compromise with the other person, or you're trying to get two other people to compromise. Maybe that's why it's coming through as water, Gemini, and then we know we have Libra, right? So maybe there are actually 3 people involved, and you could be the one that's in the center of it all. We have the song Fallen, Alicia Keys. Interesting too that song is coming through when we have this energy over here of somebody that can be kind of prickly. Maybe one person is likable one day and not so likable the next. Take that however it resonates. Also, there could be energy of someone's, I'm sorry to say it this way because I really hate saying this, but it could be like someone's sexuality, not sexuality as in their preferences. It's something about being like open, about like very talkative and open about sex, right? Or like giving off a very sexual aura, and it could be, I'm so sorry because this is coming out right next, like look at her, look at the way that she is with this moon card. That's the reason that I'm saying that. You see the way that she looks. I'm just saying, okay? Let's be real, okay? You got it next to this can of poison, maybe, and this was in the reverse, so maybe there's something about in certain situations, right? Maybe there's something about it being over the top, is the way that I'm taking it. Like, it's over the top and it's a problem. Take it how, I don't mean it to be offensive when I say it, and I apologize if it is. It's coming through, and I have to say the way that it's coming through, there's something about this expression that it's causing a problem because of this can of poison. All right, let me get the crystals. So we have peridot on the bottom. Very interesting color combination. Hold on. Okay, so it's such an interesting color combination, right? If you notice one is pink and one is blue, right? One, like, male and female is how I'm taking I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be offensive to anybody. It's just the way that it was presenting as soon as I saw it. It was like if you were going to have a baby shower, how people have gender reveal parties, right? And you have the decorations for a baby shower. That's how it felt to me. Like there's this question. Also on this side, I'm seeing lungs. I don't know why I'm seeing lungs. And on this side, I'm seeing a torso. Take that however it resonates. And this torso does look very feminine in nature again, just the way, and it almost looks like these would be wings right here, like shoulders, right? Wings. This is the crystal Deva itself, the spirit of the crystal, meaning, you know, the actual spirit of the crystal. This sigil brings in the energy of this spirit. So you can take screenshots and use them anywhere that you want. But even when you look at them, now that I'm looking at it again, it looks like this one, like these are the shoulders, and he's got his arms up and around the way that a man would, especially if he was trying to flex and puff out his chest, right? But I'm seeing this more as lungs. So look at, this would be the throat, his head is thrown back, right? This is a very like masculine, aggressive stance is the way I'm feeling it. This over here is very feminine. There even feels like there's a smile on her face. Call me crazy, I don't care. It's just the way that it's coming through. Okay, also they were just showing me a horse on this side here. So we have lungs and a horse on this side. Take it however it resonates for your situation, because I don't know what they're saying. But anyway, okay, so when you look at the keywords here, we have equality in love and then oneness. There's something about maybe twins too, I don't know. But we did have Gemini energy come through a couple of times, a couple of times, so Gemini is the twins. But this is talking about, especially with this equality in love, so bringing the two halves or the two opposites or the masculine and the feminine together. So it feels like I need to point it out. But then all of this feels like light energy to me, not just because the black coral says light in the darkness. It feels like all of this energy is what brings light to this situation, right? So maybe this is a combination of stones that you want to maybe use in some way. And I have to be honest, if you are going to use them, it would actually go in this order here, because this would be at your root chakra. Yeah, at the root chakra, solar plexus, heart. And but they all feel very bright. Like all of them are coming through with it's all the white light energy of all three, even though it's very little of it here. All of it, I feel like there's a light shining, right? Again, I don't know, just take it how it resonates. This might bring light to the situation in some way, but it has to do with this zircon here in the center, the solar plexus, your will, someone putting their will, especially with life changes, right? Like maybe there's things need to change, and someone is saying, well, I don't want to change, right? I really don't want to change. I am who I am, and I'll always be who I am. I don't know. But it's like if you're going to bring these two sides to, or like if you want to keep these two sides balanced, I should say, because they look very, I think they're already together. They look very much together. And we have the bringer of joy, which is peridot, and then the smoky quartz feels very gray to me. Interesting. Okay, hold on. So smoky quartz, peridot, bringer of joy, smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is a stone that transmutes negativity, right? It takes all that icky. It's like if you were to take your leftover vegetable, whatever, like the onion pieces that you aren't going to use, right? And you're either going to save them so that you can then use them for soup later, but that's not really a good analogy. It's actually better if you talk about putting them in for compost that you would then use to plant a garden and create more onions that you would then use for your soup later. That's what smoky quartz does. So it takes all of the trash, right, and it recycles it and makes it into better energy. So we're coming all the way back now with these two cards here, but that doesn't surprise me because they're on the bottom of the deck. Remember, everything on the bottom of the deck is the past that brought you to this moment here. So we're coming all the way back around to the conversation, right? If you want to compost all of that ickiness and, you know, use it to fertilize and bring growth and bring joy, it comes from this conversation. Let's get some charms because we don't want this reading to go on forever. I do have the song. Oh, I forgot to say, we started off with the Eiley brothers. Hold on. What are you doing? My phone. Hold on, what are you doing? Okay. Oh my God. Why won't my phone? So right now we have the song Someone to Love You, Rough Ends. I hate this phone. And then we had Until the End of Time, Justin Timberlake, but we started with For the Love of You, parts 1 and 2. By the Eiley brothers. That was the song I meant to talk to you about or tell you when I first started it. These other songs we have So Beautiful and Fallen, but they didn't really catch my attention so much as the other three. So let's go ahead and move on to our charms. I gotta say, I'm gonna be really pissed if I go back into editing and this damn video doesn't have any audio. I don't know what I'm gonna do then. Having to start a third time would really make me angry. This song is talking about you've waited so long for someone to love you. So this is interesting, very interesting. Okay, so you only have a couple of charms upside down, and really they're money. Well, the phone. But everything else is in the upright. You're like really very much aware of everything else that's going on this month. With, like I say, the money being upside down, it's not that you're not aware of it. It just talks about some expense, right? That could be a bill, but it's really, well, the 12th house, it's a $1 bill coming into your 12th house. So there could be some unexpected bill that comes in, but it could be a small bill. Although, that $1 is connected to the phone there, the telephone. And I learned with Gemini, I can actually, if I'm very careful, I can pick this up and show you guys what it looks like. So you see how that telephone is upside down there? And that's coming out over the first house. There's Libra right there. That's you in the first house. So you're going to get, there's going to be some sort of unexpected phone call or message or some sort of something, some communication that comes in, some information that comes in, and it's attached to that $1 bill that's upside down. It's some sort of loss, but whatever it is, it's not that big of a loss. But it will surprise you. It's just not that big of a loss. Or if it's an expense, it's not going to cost as much as you think, even if it surprises you. Now, you do have the Cancer charm right there in the center, so you could be dealing with a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. But you also have that Lion. The thing about the lion is that's not really an astrological sign. That's just a lion, a charm that's an actual lion, and that's sitting on the first and second house there. I'm not going to keep holding this up. That's sitting on the first and second house there. So what that tells me, especially because the second house has to do with like your values, those things that you value, not just the money that you have, right? But if we're looking at it exoterically, meaning in the 3D, then it talks about the what you have in your bank account, or the jewelry that you own that has value, or something like that, right? Like your house, your actual house that has value, or any of the things that are inside of your house that you can't move is going to be found here in the 4th house. But when we're talking about the things that you own that have value, or what you personally find value in, that's here in your 2nd house. To have the lion there, you know, lions live in prides. And the sign of Leo can be very prideful and narcissistic when it's an toxic energy. And so if you are being, and also think about lions, especially male lions, when another person, or animal, I should say, comes into their territory, they tend to get very loud and they roar to let them know, hey, excuse me, you've passed into area that you do not belong in. So there could be something about you being very either loud or prideful about your values, right? Your boundaries in some way. Watch your pride. We also have the Walking Dead. That could be, so with the Walking Dead, it feels like that could get really tired, really old, like within a couple of months. Like, be careful of it, right? Because, well, the Walking Dead, they're zombies. Like, or it could just be that you might be very, very tired. You could be working a lot because this is coming over the 2nd house. You could be making a lot of money, and it could be something to be proud of. Over the next couple of months, right? But I have to go with my first instinct, which is if you do have a tendency to very loudly vocalize those things that you find important, you're going to want to watch that energy. You're going to want to be careful of that energy, because it could get old quickly. Like within a couple of months, someone's going to get tired of hearing it. Especially, also, I just realized, oh my God, look, you have the hourglass sitting over the 2nd house. It's just a matter of time, okay? Also, when it comes to like money, if it's that you're working a lot, maybe this has to do with like overtime, right? Or maybe it could be that you're with the Walking Dead, especially because that hourglass is on its side, which means it's not really keeping time, which means with the Walking Dead, there could be that could be the loss that comes in with money. But again, it may not be that much. Only because this is a dollar bill here, and that's what's in the 12th house, right? If you had the $100 bill in the 12th house, or you had it over here in the 2nd house, or even in the 8th house, which would be joint resources or joint bank accounts, I would be like, you know, I would be worried that the loss was going to be big. However, this $100 bill that's coming out is coming out in the 5th house, which is the house of children. And we already brought up that there might be some issue with children. So there is going to be some loss, right? There is going to be some expense. It could be an expense that's related to somebody being unreliable. I have to say it. I'm so sorry. I have to say it because, and I'm going to show it to you in my hand now, just because, you know, at this point, I don't want to keep picking it up. I'm going to end up dumping them and then forgetting where everything was. So this charm here says no matter where. Okay, then you've got this mushroom, and mushrooms always bring up to mind fantasy, right? There's something about fantasy with mushrooms, or dreams, or being high, right? Magic mushrooms. And then we've got this piece of Lenormand. Lenormand is a water stone. It's also a communication stone, but the communication is very emotional. And so it's a water stone. And then we've got this $100 bill, and the $100 bill is upside down. That's a loss or an expense. So it's an expense related to this area here, being the 5th house, which is the house of children, creativity, fun, romance, all of that, right? It's an expense related to this area in some way, and it is a big expense. Because there's a $100 bill there. It is a big expense. It could have been something that, you know, started out as like a fantasy, a dream, and now it's like, what the hell? Or maybe somebody's unreliable through it or something. Although it could be that this could even like solidify, and, you know, it could solidify something, because no matter where is a promise, right? It's a promise. So, you know, take it however it resonates for your situation. And again, like, only take what resonates for your situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about yet, just ignore it and come back to this video later on if you remember something that I said, because it happens later on. We also have this piece. Well, okay, so I forgot to talk about the bellows and the fluorite here. And we have a piece of amethyst. Actually, no, I think this is rainbow fluorite. It is. That's rainbow fluorite. So you've got 2 pieces of fluorite. Okay, so maybe there's something you need to study. I say that because 3rd and 6th house, okay? 3rd house is the house of communication. 6th house is the house of, like, what are you doing with your time each day? And then rainbow fluorite, I always see rainbow fluorite as the student's stone, because of the color. It has so many different colors. Fluorite is a very mental stone anyway. It kind of reminds me of swords energy. And this is a Libra reading, so fluorite would be one of those stones, because it's kind of airy energy anyway, that would really connect with Libra. But if there's something you've been wanting to study, it's like now is the time to like renew that, because of the bellows. Or if there's somebody that you need to have a conversation with, right? And this could be like siblings, cousins, neighbors, you know, people that are in your immediate vicinity, right? Not the people living in your house, although it might be for some of you, but because of what we already talked about, and the bellows is sitting on both houses. But mainly it's in the 3rd house. So this is talking about like reigniting or breathing new life into, you know, your communication, or opening up the lines of communication with someone that is either a peer or a sibling or a cousin or something like that. I would say sibling, though. Someone in your age group here. These are the people in your immediate environment, like the neighbors that live, you know, on your block that you used to be friends with but you haven't talked to in a while. And, you know, maybe now you reconnect and they open your mind or your eyes to something that causes you to like you then start studying it. And I think because you have this sun charm on the table, which meaning that it's talking about like a couple of months away, if it'll focus. See how happy and pretty that sun is? That's like joyous clarity, something that brings you joy and a lot of clarity within a couple of months, right? Within 2 months, I would say, maybe 3 at the most, because it is sitting a little further out than this one. But it will require study. I can't get away from that. This is also like if you have a job, right? If there's something going on at work, maybe there's something you need to study to like further this job, especially if you're worried about time or income over here. You might need to study something that will help you, you know, that maybe it could, you know, it really just struck me, it could be something that maybe you've needed to kind of get caught up on, right? Like, I don't know, let's say you want to learn how to use a new app or something, right? Or get a website or something like that. And you have to learn how, figure out how to use it. Like, now's the time to do it, because it's really gonna bring like clarity and joy or something. Like, it opens things up. It brings enlightenment, like it shines a spotlight on things with this particular sun coming out over here, or it shines a spotlight on your work, or it brings enlightenment in some way. Especially because we've got the horn, and we've got a piece of tourmalated quartz in your 9th house, and the number 8 domino, which is the double 4s. So it's about your foundation, right? So again, this is like, you know, so the 9th house is higher education, but this can also be like your higher self, your subconscious. Meditation. I say meditation because of the tourmalated quartz. That's what that stone, it's perfect meditation stone if you're trying to balance your chakras. That's all you need is a piece of tourmalated quartz. But anyway, you know, and also the number 8 domino being made up of 2 4s, it's like a double solid foundation that brings in abundance, right? And this particular horn always kind of reminds me of the horns that you see at Christmas time decorating everything. So again, there's like, it's like a horn that signals something joyful, right? So again, take it however it resonates. It could be you have to go back to school to study something, or it could be something like studying yourself, doing shadow work. We do have strong is beautiful coming out over the 10th and 11th houses. So if there is a problem at work, and it's coming out with this tourmalated quartz, like, don't worry about it. You're strong, like, you're protected. Like, I think your reputation is what it's saying. Like, you're protected because of your reputation. Absolutely, because you've got a really good reputation in whatever it is that you do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I hope that resonates. If it does not, please watch for your sun, moon, or rising. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, anything that you can to help me, because it really does help me, and I thank you very much for watching. Oh, and we have one last song. Sorry. I just noticed it as I was getting ready to stop the video. Good Love, Anita Baker. So you might want to Google that to see how those lyrics apply to your situation.